Hey FlossTube, it's Paula. Welcome to my channel Stitching in High Heels, where we're going to talk about all things cross stitch. Occasionally I do some other crafts. I haven't done anything recently, but when I do, we'll talk about that as well. Today is Sunday, February 11th, 2024, and it's a little bit cloudy here, so the light might be a little wonky. I'm trying to film this without my ring light so that you don't have that halo in my glasses. And I apologize for all the dog noise. Dogs are downstairs. My husband's outside working on his new truck. And they've been quiet right up until I push the record button. So we'll see if we can get through this. If it's too annoying, I'll stop and do this later. Anyway, like I said, welcome to anyone who is stopping by for a visit. I hope you like what you see. I hope you'll consider coming back, subscribing. Please, if you like the video, click the like button. If you ring the bell, as they say, you'll get notifications of when I put new videos out. For all of my returning friends and subscribers, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I enjoy the time that we get to spend together. And also, definitely, you also please leave me a comment, say hello, let me know you've been here. I really appreciate that. It's been 2 weeks since my last video, which is the schedule I'm trying to get myself on now that I'm not tied up with school and a lot of those other commitments. So far, so good. We're in February. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out, right? Like the saying goes, we make plans and God laughs, but we'll see how we get. Since yesterday was Lunar New Year. Happy New Year to those of my viewers who may celebrate that or observe that. And it is going to be the year of the dragon. I know lots of people have been doing some stitch-alongs, start-alongs. I didn't really decide to do anything like that, but what I thought I would do that could be kind of fun is show you some of my stitched pieces that have dragons on them. I have a couple ornaments that have been stitched and FFO'd that are put away with my Christmas ornaments, so I didn't pull them out, but I do have a couple of other pieces to show you. So we'll start with that, then we'll talk about my whips, finish up with my plans, and should be a fairly quick video this time compared to the last few. So the first piece I'd like to show you as a previous finish is Paws Off. This is by Dragon Dreams Designs. And I know you saw this because I finished this last month. It was one of my Whip Go calls, so it should look familiar. It's a Dragon Dreams design, and it was from the 2005 Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. Stitched with all of the called for threads and material. I didn't write it down, I forget what the material is, but this is one of the pieces that I had bought an ornament cut specifically for it, and then stowed them away for almost 20 years. That's kind of scary, but there it is. Paws Off Santa Snacks. The next previously stitched piece I have to show you is, I finished this in 2020 because it seemed appropriate. I don't think I need my little board here. And this is Tempest by Teresa Wensler Designs. It's a freebie, but now that her website has been shut down, I'm not sure if it's still available anywhere. Let me show you. So this is stitched pretty much as called for. I don't remember the fabric that I stitched it on. I remember stitching it because it did seem rather appropriate for what was going on in 2020. But so some changes I made, the steam coming out of his nose here, that's all beads. It was actually stitched in the original chart. And I did the outermost row of the border here in all beads. Come on, let's focus if you would. I'm not sure why my camera's not focusing real well on that when I bring it close up. But that is Tempest. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to finish him. Maybe a flat fold stand-up, but I like him. The threads that I used were, other than the little bursts of steam. Any of the stitched pieces are the called for DMC. He was all stitched in DMC. And the next piece I have is another Teresa Wentzler, and I stitched this, another Teresa Wentzler freebie. I stitched this in 2005 because I have the date on it. And this one is called Future Cast. It's stitched on a piece of opalescent, probably Lugana. It was probably a silk weaver. This was before I was keeping really good records on what I was stitching. And I think that I picked colors to match. I think in the border here I used a Needle Necessities or Threadworks thread, and I picked DMC colors to match that. I really like how he came out. Again, I'll have to get him FFO'd so that I can display him. I have a frame I may use for him and hang him up here in my craft room. I'm not completely sure what I'm going to do with him. I'm just trying to get my notes out of the way so I don't cover that up with all my pieces here. And then I have another Dragon Dreams design piece. This, I believe, is called Just a Little Peace and Quiet. I'm not sure if this is available. My intention was to hang this in my bathroom. At the time I was living by myself, had a bright pink bathroom, figured I was going to go all girly with it, and this would be appropriate. So this was kind of fun. It's got some threads in here, like, let's see if we can get it to the towels. Let me see here. The towels are stitched with Fuzzy Stuff by Rainbow Gallery, if you can see that. I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't really show, but they're stitched with Fuzzy Stuff. There's the bubbles have some Krynic in them, and then there's those fun buttons, the bath brush and everything. So I probably still will frame this and hang it in my bathroom all the same. And then last and certainly not least, last piece is, I love this one, and I want to have it framed by Jill Rensel, and I've sent her an email twice about this and then never shipped it out, and it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with trusting this to the United States Post Office. And this is Teresa Wentzler's The Castle. And I finished this in, you know what, I didn't date it. Yes, I did. I finished this in 2012. And there it is. This is on a Silk Weaver Solo, so it didn't have a name. It's greenish. Again, the light's kind of weird, so I'm not sure you can see real well. I did buy the kit from Janlin, but swapped out the material, so I used the threads from there. And this is, I believe this design is also in her Best of Fantasy book. So I was able to use something other than the original hand-drawn chart. And also, I'm not sure, let me see if I can get some of this closer. The dragon has blending filament in it. I'm not sure you'll be able to see the sparkle because of the light today. But there was, on the Teresa Wentzler bulletin boards, there was some color conversions, if you will, to add blending filament to the dragon, so he sparkles. And what I did, yeah, I just can't get it to show. So what I did, because I dislike Krynic blending filament immensely, and at the time that I stitched this, that was all I knew about. I did all of the stitching, and then I went over the top leg of each stitch with the blending filament, rather than putting it in the needle with my thread and doing all of the stitching that way. It was a little less painful to work with, and gives a real nice subtle shimmer. So I really need to just pull the trigger and send that out to Jill and get that framed. So those are my previous dragon finishes in acknowledgement of this being the year of the dragon in the lunar calendar. And from there we'll go on to the normal agenda of FFOs, etc., etc. So since I last filmed, my last video was in January, and I had not completely finished all of my WIPGO calls for January. And if you remember, I'm doing 3 boards for WIPGO. If you don't know what WIPGO is, it's a bingo style challenge coordinated by Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And it's kind of a fun way to get you to work on WIPs, works in progress, and things like that. You can set up your board to have whatever categories or however you want to do it. I have 3 different boards, one for WIPs or works in progress, things I'm working on that I want to get progress on. One for a bunch of ornaments from older issues of the Just Cross Stitch Ornament magazine that I want to get started, and one for ornaments that I've stitched over time and just stuffed in the bin of shame, so to speak, and that I want to get finished so that I can display them on my tree. So this is the second ornament that was called to fully finish, and this is Bringing Home Christmas by Country Cottage Needleworks. And if you can see there, I put a beaded edge on it. I had this really cool ribbon that I used for a hanger that had Christmas trees on it. I had these sparkly green buttons in my stash that I don't even remember why I bought them, but I thought they looked cool. And then this is the backing fabric. I did a pillow finish and did the beaded edge. And then that's the backing fabric, which I thought just kind of went nicely with it. So I'm pleased with how this came out. I knew what I wanted that edging to look like. Let's see if I can get you a good look at it. It's got green bugle beads and little pink seed beads at the top of the points there. I knew what I wanted it to look like. It took me a little bit to work out exactly how I was going to do it, and not have the beads, have them lay straight on a plane. They were kind of twisted, a few of the methods that I tried at the beginning. So I'm pleased with how that came out. I have 2 more ornaments to do for February that I haven't done a thing with, but I'm starting to get some thoughts on how I'm going to do them. And then one of my WIPGO starts for last month with the ornament was A Little Joy by Just Nan, and this is from the 2002 ornament issue, and it's that one right there. And I got a good start on it, and I picked it up to work on one evening while we were watching TV because it was something that I could, the area that I was working on, I didn't have to pay a lot of attention to. So I don't know if you can see it. There's a border here. Right now I've just got white stitches in it. They're all little Smyrna cross stitches. You can see them a little bit there. They show up better in real life. So I worked on them. And then there's, I believe some of the dark red goes with them. And I'll continue working on that as I have time. It's kind of a fun one to work on. And once I get done with that, there's a little bit of back stitching to put some garland on the trees, and then I have the over one to do for that little charm in the middle, which will be interesting to accomplish, to say the least. Actually, it probably won't be too bad. I keep saying I'm not a fan of over one stitching, and I've got my mini Mirabilia going over one, and I'm actually really enjoying that. So we'll see. It'll just be, I'll have to work on it at a time when I have some really good light and some concentration, and the piece of fabric is tiny. So I'm going to have to stitch it in hand, which is not something I do frequently, but we'll see how it goes. And then I put another day in on Siam Fusion, which is by Sampler Cove, and I believe the copyright on this is, I think it was 2006 or 2004 is what I remember. I mean, you can see it's got a regular photograph on the cover chart, and I'm doing this bigger piece. Woo, I always do this backwards. I'm doing this bigger piece here. So I did work on it for 2 days. My goal for my work in progress pieces, or my WIP pieces that have been called for WIPGO, is to stitch on them 4 times. And 4 times or 4 days, it can be an hour in the day that I pick it up, or a couple hours, depends on how much time I have. And really my goal is just to pick it up and touch it and get some progress on it. And this is being stitched on 28 count charcoal cashel linen with the called for threads. I think they're Karen Collection silk. They're silks. I think they're by Karen Collection. And here's where I'm at with that. So I filled in some of the lighter blue that you can see. I'll try to be better this time about taking pictures so I can put the before and after pictures in. But I worked on that lighter blue, those lighter blue stitches, and put this darker blue down here. So that's what I worked on for that. And so I really like the blues on this darker fabric. I'm glad I was able to find something that's not completely black. It's a little easier on the eyes, a little easier to work with. And then my WIPCO calls for this month in February. The first one is My Necessity by Heartstring Samplery. And here's what it'll look like. It's part of her coffee series. It's a monochromatic piece. And the words on it are, you're the cream in my coffee, you're the lace in my shoe, my necessity, I'd be lost without you. Which I kind of feel like about coffee, anybody who knows me. And I'm stitching this over 2 on Belfast Linen by Zweigart in the color Winter Moon, which is I really like this. It's a nice pale neutral. It's hard to see the color here. It's kind of on the tan or yellow side of cream. And I'm using Gentle Art sampler threads in the colorway Cinders. So I pulled it out of the Q-snap and ironed it for you guys. Let's see if you can see. So it's a dark brown or black thread with just a hint of red here and there. So there's where it's at. And what I worked on this time, let me fold it here so I can show you a little better. So I worked on that band with the hearts in it. That was a lot of fun. It was a nice pattern. It was easy to work on while I was on conference calls and such at work without having to do a lot of thinking. And then last night I finished that up and started the words here where you see it's going to say My Necessity. So I've got one more day. I've worked on that for 3 days. I've got one more day to work on that. Probably be today, maybe. I believe we're going to watch the Super Bowl here in the United States, and I'll probably work on that because it's easy to not have to worry about switching threads. And the next band after this one is going to be another one with a nice pattern that I won't have to do a lot of thinking once I finish up those words. So I worked on that, and then I did start one of my ornaments for this month, and this is Joy of the, let me look, because I always call it the wrong thing, Joy of the Holidays, and it's by Needleplay Needlework Designs, and this is from the 2004 Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue, and it's this one right down here. Let's see if I can, so it's got some fold thread work, cut thread work, that's going to be fun. I got a pretty decent start on that. I want to work on it one more time, finish up the back stitching. I'll show you here. I did find out a bit of a difficulty in working on patterns that are 20 years old. There are a couple stitches in the chart that aren't listed in the floss list, so I faked that pretty well. And it's kind of tough to see the back stitching, but it's there. And then the other thing that was kind of weird to me in the instructions, and I'm glad that I have done pulled thread or cut work before, is you can see here all the blocks and stuff in here. It called to do them with 2 strands of number 8 pearl cotton, and I'm stitching this on the called for recommended thread was a 32 count, it's either Lugana or Jobelin, a 32 count even weave, and trying to get 2 strands of number 8 pearl cotton through these holes is would be a nightmare. So everything I've ever done before, it's always called for 1 strand of the number 8, and that's what I'm going to go with. I'm sure it'll be just fine. And I think it would be hard to see the threads to cut also using 2 strands. So just, and I did look at the Just Cross Stitch website. They do have some corrections from some of the issues, but nothing for the 2004 issue. So we'll just go on a wing and a prayer. And then my last start is not related to WhipGo. This is a chart that I've been wanting to start for a long time, and my birthday was last weekend, so I started it as my birthday chart. This is Sarah Mary Larkworthy, 1727, by charted. It's a reproduction sampler, and it's charted by Hands Across the Sea. You can see it there. And what's called to me on this one is, I don't know if you can see it real well, but these sections here are more traditional embroidery. The vines are done in stem stitch. The flowers and the leaves, the berries and the leaves are all in satin stitch. These flowers up here are in satin stitch. So I've been wanting for some reason to do some freehand embroidery lately. So that kind of fit the bill for that. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count Edinburgh linen. It's a Zweigart base, but it's dyed by Tropical Stitches. And I found her during the pandemic. She does great fabric. I love the way her fabric feels. This isn't the first piece I've stitched on her fabric. I did another heartstring samplery piece on a piece of 25 count over 1 on her fabric. But you can see I did the top 2 bands completely. So those zigzags are eyelet stitches, which are fun for me. I enjoy them. And then I started here. I kind of broke up that other long single band of cross stitches, and I started doing the alphabet there. So I worked on this for 3 days, and I put it down to move on to my WhipGo calls. I'm sure this is going to come out from time to time this year because I'm enjoying it, and I really do want to get to those areas with the other types of stitches. So those are all the pieces that I've worked on since we were together last. And I know I've said before that I'm trying to minimize my collecting this year and really use what's in my stash. And I'm finding I really truly enjoy what I have in my stash, which is great, right? The one thing that I'm not sure if I'm going to continue or not, my heart wants to continue it, but then I look at the amount of fabric I already have and think I really don't need any more, is Oak Crown Studios is a new fabric dyer. It's Fiber Arts Amy, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching, but she has started dyeing fabric and selling it, and she does a Fabric of the Month club. So here's a card with her information. Let's see if I can get it to focus on that. It's not great, but let's try it this way. Let's see if it'll focus there. I'll link her below with all of her information. But I'm in her Fabric of the Month club, and right now I'm getting 2 pieces of fabric from her, a 32 count Belfast linen and a 20 count Aida. So maybe what I'll do is go down to just 1 cut of fabric instead of 2. But this is her Fabric of the Month for February, and she called it Crystal Ball. And it is this gorgeous purpley gray with a kind of almost a gray or a blue undertone. And it is modeled. I know a lot of times modeling shows up a little more starkly on camera. So there is the Belfast. And this is the 20 count Aida. So if any of you are Aida stitchers and want to see what it looks like. It is modeled like that. The background is this beautiful pale lilac-y purple with darker purpley gray modeling on it. But it's a great fabric. And everything I've gotten from her, from the Fabric of the Month, has been just wonderful. And her commentary about this fabric is that this month's fabric is what she would consider a neutral. It works great for samplers and cross-stitch designs of a similar type, including designs from Carriage House Samplings, Little House Needleworks, and even Hands Across the Sea samplers if you're looking for something other than the omnipresent beige. This hue is also fantastic for memorabilia and similar designs if you want the fabric to fall to the background and really let the stitching shine. The purple in the fabric will really make yellows stand out. I think it would be particularly stunning with Fairy Idol and Woodland Fairy, both of which I have in my stash. I'm not sure if this piece is big enough for Fairy Idol, but I'm thinking about checking it out to see. That's the only haul I have, but I really wanted to show you how beautiful Amy's fabrics are, and give you her information if you're in the market for another fabric dyer. And with that, we're at the plans section already. I mean, this is a pretty quick video, which is fine. I know a lot of you really appreciate shorter videos and like to move on. So my other whip call for Whip Go is Earth Dancer. So I have to put 4 days in on her. She is still in the Q-snap because I have a dangling thread from doing the beading here on her dream catcher. So there she is. So I'm at the beading and the fringing on her. So if I can get some time and really sit down with her, I'm hoping that the 4 days will get me at a finish for her. The only challenge, for me with stitching her is actually that with our dogs, I really need to do the beading away from them so that they the beads don't get knocked all over the place. Those of you with pets, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So I would tend to do that up here in my craft room, and lately my husband and I have been finding things that we've enjoyed watching. We watch sports on TV, so I've been hanging out with him in the evenings rather than coming up here into my room to stitch. But I will get some time in with that because I really would love to have that finished. And then I do have another ornament to start, and so I'm probably going to give Joy of the Holidays one more stitching session. I tend to do the ornaments when I'm at my shifts at the 911 center, even when the phones are not busy. They're small, they're easily portable, and so I tend to do that. So probably work on Joy of the Holidays one more evening, try to get the back stitching on that back on that bottom section, finished up, and then I'll move on to this next one, which is the Joy Needle Roll right here by Jeanette Douglas Designs. So I've got everything pulled for that, and that'll be nice to have on my tree as well because I have 2 other ones from that series that she did for Just Cross Stitch. She did Peace and Love, and they're on the tree, stitched and finished already. And then my 2 ornaments, just as a reminder, my 2 ornaments, I think I showed them last time, that I'll be FFOing for this month are this Victoria Sampler freebie ornament. And I have an idea of what I want to do with that one. I want to do something other than just a pillow finish. And All Is Calm by Country Cottage Needleworks. And that's where that is. Have a little bit of a thought about this one. I have to look at my finishing fabrics and see what I have for that. But I do have some ideas there too. And lastly, I probably will have another start. Well, actually 2 more starts because I really want to get started on my temperature stitch for this year now that we're like a month and a half into the year. I don't want to get too far behind. And I'm going to do, I didn't bring the chart with me because all I have is a printout, but I have a chart that Fox and Rabbit released to their Patreon members last year, which is the one that I've been looking at doing, and it's hearts hanging from a row of stitching. And I have some really good ideas of how I want to do that. Hopefully I'll have it started a little bit. I can explain to you guys what I want to do next time. And then the other start I have planned for February, because I am going to the Queen City Stitchers Retreat in October, and the guest artist is Autumn Lane Stitchery, and I'm really excited about that. But I want to start this, which is To All a Good Night, and this I got fully kitted in the 2022 Black Needle Society Nice List box. So you guys know I love blue. I got it, it's fully kitted. I have all the threads and the opalescent cashel linen to stitch it on. So that should be a fun stitch, and probably falling into the trap that we all fall into and say, well, it's not that big. The stitch count on it, it's not huge, it really isn't. The stitch count is 66 by 118, and on 28 count it should be 4.7 inches by 8.4 inches. And there is quite a, it is quite a bit of solid stitching, but all of the white there is not stitched. That is the linen that's showing through there, so that shouldn't be too bad. And I'm looking forward to getting a start on that. It looks like it'll be a fun stitch. And I know a lot of you really enjoy Autumn Lane Stitchery stitches, so that's my plans for the remainder of February. I hope to be back with you all in another 2 weeks, which would be, let's see, today's the 11th, so it'll be the 28th of February, the last Sunday. I hope to film then, and hopefully I will get this video edited quickly and up for you all. Last time I filmed on a Sunday, and I tried uploading the video Sunday night, and I know Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching have said the same thing. Sometimes Sundays are kind of crazy, and it takes forever to upload, so if I can't get it edited and uploaded today, I will get it uploaded for you all hopefully tomorrow. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. That's Wednesday this week, and Mardi Gras, I believe, is Tuesday. So Wednesday is also Ash Wednesday for those of you who observe that. So a lot of stuff coming up in the next week, and lots to celebrate and participate in. And with that, a little bit of life stuff. Things are pretty peaceful here. Like I said before, my husband is outside working on his new truck. We have a new to us truck. I don't think I mentioned it, but he was returning home from hunting camp in November, and someone came along and hit him as he was pulling into our driveway. And we finally got word, we had gotten it to the body shop. They started working on it, and there was enough damage to it that the insurance company chose to total out the vehicle. So that all happened last week. We finally got the final word on that. We were very fortunate. We went to a dealership, the dealership that he bought his other truck from yesterday. They had a couple that fell within our price range that also would tow our camper, because we had to kind of bought a camper last year, so now we can't just buy any old vehicle. So but they had a vehicle that was in price range, would easily tow the vehicle, had the specs that he wanted for that, and it actually looks identical to his previous pickup truck. It's a year older, has fewer miles, but the same engine, the same tow package, and he's very pleased with it. So he's just getting all of his stuff moved into that today. Other than that, everything's been pretty much business as usual here. We're expecting, I guess we're under a winter storm watch in my area of New York State. They're talking about 6 to 8 inches of snow Monday night into Tuesday. Hopefully it's on the lower end of that. I'm taking a good friend of mine to her chemo treatment on Tuesday, and we'll stay with her and keep her company while all that's going on. So hopefully the weather's not too horrible for that, but I do have an all-wheel drive vehicle, and we will make that happen. So that's kind of my plans for this week. That gives me a day off. Next week in the United States is a week from tomorrow in the United States, which is the 19th, is the observance of what they call President's Day, in celebration of George Washington's birthday and Abraham Lincoln's birthday. They created that holiday to fall on a Monday, so I'll have a long weekend next weekend. Hopefully that means some extra stitching time. Maybe for you too, if you observe that in the United States. Other than that, I hope you're staying warm or cool, depending on what part of the world you're in, and getting in some good stitching time, taking good care of yourself. I hope everyone's healthy in your world, and hope you're fine. Just, taking care of yourself, because that's important as well. I know we've all been saying that, but I know in the wintertime some of us struggle a little, in the northern hemisphere, some of us struggle this time a little bit more than others. So, as I said, keep stitching. Stitch what you love, as others have said here on FlossTube, and I'm just rambling, so I'm going to wrap it up. See y'all soon. Love ya.